Skandouz. It's your boy Skandouz, the hip hop original, alongside the one and only DJ
Tom Foolery Beats.
And this is what we tend to do at the end of these seasons of Head to Head. Me and Tom sit down and we recap the series and maybe give a bit of insight on some of the interviews and stretch out little bits here and there. So yeah, here we go, man. This is absolutely the recap of our recent season 4, which let me just do a rundown of these interviews. Hopefully you guys have seen them all by now. We opened the season up with Solaheen and Drew Hawley, two of the late great TY's closest collaborators. That was a very special episode which we opened the season with around the birthday of TY back in August. We also had the legend that is MC Mello, UK hip hop legend, another UK hip hop legend, which was Blade. We had Joker Star and Anyway to God, like two insane MC lyricists. Another two dope MC lyricists. We had Maslow and Apex Zero, where we did a EOW end of the week special for the big England championship that was coming up. We had one of our family members, Dre Styles, who had just dropped his debut album, incredible Love Life lyrics. And we caught up with another like insane UK lyricist / producer in Coops. I managed to catch up with him on his UK tour. We also had another US legend by the name of Elder Sensei of the Artifacts crew. So I caught up with him while he was over here in the UK. And then an amazing spoken word / MC by the name of Poetikah. Caught up with her for episode number 9, and then finished the season with the legend himself, the GOAT, KRS ONE, and that was season 4.
Good way to round it off.
Yeah. So yeah, man, I think this season, as I was just saying to Tom, the aim for the first time with the head-to-head series was to have all of these interviews in person. And I guess, we ended season 3 with our first in-person interview. And so, yeah, so I thought, it was
I guess after COVID, it was like, face to face.
Yeah. So Tom, having watched these back, man, any thoughts on these episodes that you saw? Any standouts or highlights?
Well, first of all, take my hat off to you for organizing it and seeing it through, bringing it to us. It's amazing, I know a lot of work has gone in doing that. It's not an easy feat. So, props for that. And it's really a great array of people that you got. Like, it's very diverse, and a lot of legends in there. I know Blade was on the to-do list for a long time.
Yeah, that's right.
And getting a proper KRS One interview as well. Because I remember we tried to get him before years ago. And we got backstage with him and everything, and he was just like swarmed by people,
Yeah, I remember that, man. We managed to get a drop. We got a drop for the show.
Yeah, we got a good
drop. Didn't get an interview.
And then I remember going right out into the sticks of like Surbiton, like the fringes of London, to see him do a talk at Kingston Uni.
Right.
Which was great, but we still never got that interview. So yeah, he finally done it.
Yeah.
So,
oh man.
And he dropped some, jewels in there, jewels of wisdom, as he would.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're kind of starting at the end. We should probably kick with number 1.
Yeah, so that was Drew Hawley and Solaheen, where we had an in-depth conversation, man. And as a friend of Ty's, and that was a tough one to get through. But at the same time, it was a conversation that we've been trying to put together like all year, you know, and I knew, as much as I knew about those albums and as many like conversations I'd had and, you know, Zooms I've sat through, we were still managed to uncover like information about the makings of those albums, Awkward and Upwards, that I had no idea. You know, it's like,
yeah, man. And it's great to see those guys in person, because, you know, often you just see their name in writing on the back, on the credits on the back of an album or something.
Yeah.
You know, those guys often hide away.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah, both of them, they're obviously so good at their craft as well. And to get hold of them was, I mean, Solihim he was in California.
Yeah, so
Right?
Solaheen was in California. You know, Drew's he's not in London either, but he's in the UK, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it was an interesting dynamic, because I mean, as many interviews that we've done, I believe that's the first time we've done an interview with two producers or engineers talking about an artist that's deceased, you know, and breaking down their albums. So I think that's a unique take that we've yet to explore, you know.
It was interesting to some of the moments where they were telling how they like fell out with each other and stuff. You know, and they were, you know, happy to open up about those kind of things.
Yeah.
And just looking back in retrospect on what they've achieved, and you know, I don't know, man. They've put together a great body of work.
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, so we followed that episode up with MC Mello. Now, what did you think of that interview?
Yeah, he was a really interesting guy, like a fountain of information. Sorry, a fountain of knowledge, I should say. Fountain of knowledge, man. I felt you guys could have probably just kicked it for like the whole afternoon together. Like,
yeah, it's interesting, you know, because even though he's someone I've seen over the years, that was kind of like the first time we ever had an actual conversation was recorded in that interview, you know. And although he's got that main one album that's out, you know, he's kind of like Lauryn Hill of the scene, you know. He's so well, yeah.
And that was in 1990 that came out.
Yeah, you know, but he's still like a name, like,
and it's still one of like the best releases, and well, certainly in like that first period of British hip hop.
Yeah.
Along with like Demon Boys and London Posse, that album would be right up there.
Yeah, 100%, man. You know,
and he's just sitting on that second album that he's just waiting for the moment. You know.
Yeah, you know,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it is, man. Really fascinating interview, man. And like you said, you're right. You know, he had so much he wanted to get off his chest. You know, I found it quite. He doesn't do many interviews, actually, so I felt quite honored to have the chance to, you know, speak to him on our platform.
Yeah.
And then obviously, complete contrast to that is Blade, which funnily enough, that interview I conducted with Blade was actually on his birthday. And it was on his birthday. He had and it was the second interview we done, because the first interview we done was a Zoom, and I think he had some internet issues, and so there was a few moments where it kept cutting out, and he was like, you know what, I'm not happy with that, because he's very Blade is very particular about what goes out with his name on. So he made sure that, you know what, I'm coming to London, because he doesn't live in London. So he came to London specifically to do that interview on his birthday. So I felt very again to get that time with him.
Wow, yeah. I mean, yeah, that was you know, amazing to get him. He had a really cool story about how how he got into the CD burning business.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of I wasn't expecting.
Mm.
And just how he didn't expect it to really amount to anything, but he was sort of really touching rock bottom at that moment, and you know, it went way better than he expected, and
Yeah.
yeah, that was one of the positive moments to draw from that interview. And of course he really made a point of mentioning the tiny, I would call it a quibble that he had with Mark B, that was that on all the Mark B and Blade stuff, everything says just produced by Mark B.
Yeah.
Whereas the reality is that actually Blade had quite a large hand in the production. So we can get that out there for him,
Yeah.
so that the
Yeah.
people know, even
Yeah.
though it'll be in writing.
Yeah, and I know that was an issue that's been on his chest for many years, man. You know, and I guess when we dig deep into the histories or the annals of hip hop history, man, I'm sure a lot of the times I know Lauryn Hill had the same issue with the miseducation of Lauryn Hill. All the songs say produced by Lauryn Hill, but a lot of those musicians have different stories to that, and some of them have sued her and won. You know, so it's the similar situation, man. You know. Yeah, it's a lot.
Anyway, still one of my favorite albums ever, and I love some of the EPs as well and all that. And yeah, you know,
yeah, it's definitely
they
big
did
up.
it too.
Yeah, man, definitely big up Blade, absolute legend, man. Who else did we have? We had Maslow and Apex Zero. So like more or less the two guys that are in charge of End of the Week, England at the moment. They inherited it from DJ Snuff, and they're in a position where they're taking things forward right now. You know,
Yeah, I was really surprised by that, like by the amount of success that it's having worldwide,
yeah.
like in places like China,
Mm.
and I don't know, the United States, or is it
And
Canada?
Uganda.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, you know, it's great. It's great to see that, you know, these guys are being like flown all over the world, and you know, they're really seeing this thing grow,
Yeah.
and getting to schools and things like that. Like, I don't know, or just it seems to be just getting much bigger than hip hop even.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. And as a bit of a follow-up to that interview, you know, I was at the UK or the ELW England finals, and then a friend of the Connoisseurs of Hip Hop, DK, was victorious. They flew out to New York for the World Finals, and she came second. So, you know, which is massive.
Yeah,
On the global scale, like our England champ came second overall, you know, and the whole crew that went out there had an amazing time. I'm sure there's some incredible footage floating around, but yeah, they're definitely making a massive impact. And I said, you know what, next year I think either the finals is going to be in Canada or maybe Uganda. But I was like, you know what, guys, I might even have to buy a ticket and join the crew, man, because it looked like such an amazing time.
and Maslow he's such a wicked MC as well, man.
Yeah.
Like, he's a good host as well. He's like, and he makes a good director as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, well, I was gonna say how fire his bars were. They dropped on the 50 bars.
Yeah, yeah.
50 MC remix.
Yeah, both of them were on the 50 MC remix, man. And Apex, definitely shout him out because his drummer warrior storyteller is phenomenal. I saw him do that live last Friday as well, man. And he's definitely pushing the genre forward. So I definitely got to big him up, man.
Yeah, theater, right? Well, musical theater.
Yeah, but he performed a piece of it at an event, and he has like a circle of like African drummers, and like they literally sit down, they play drums, then he stands up and he just spits like fire bars, man, and just has the whole audience captivated. And it just feels like, you know, he's evolved into some like a higher being as an artist now. He's not considered just a rapper,
Right.
you know. Very spiritual experience. So yeah, amazing.
Yeah, and I know he's very handy with the camera, man.
Yeah, and he's actually shot music videos for us in the past as well, you know. So it's interesting, man. Yeah.
Very
Following,
talented.
yeah, and then following that interview, I had Joker Star and Anyway the Gods come through to promote this new Joker Star album that's out, God's Children, which was
Yeah, it was interesting that Sully, going back to the first one, that Solihin said that Joker Star actually produced one of the Thai tracks.
Yeah.
When Solihin like went out for lunch or something, left Joker Star in the studio, and he, you know, track ended up on the Thai album.
Yeah, you know, it's a really fascinating story that
By
was.
accident almost. Yeah.
You know, but that's just an example of like an artist just jumping, given an opportunity and just jumping on it, and it paid off ultimately because he had, you know, a feature on one of the premier UK hip hop albums in history. You know, he's got a production credit on there just based off of that. So that's amazing, man. You know, and definitely big those guys up, man, because the consistency, the quality over the years has been amazing. You know, and
Joker Star's been there for, you know, for so long.
Yeah,
you know, done a lot of good hookups with people, you know.
And actually, what's interesting, both Joker Star and Anyway the Gods were actually interviewed in like season 1 of Head to Head. So it's kind of like our first like repeat interview, but combined, you know. So that was again a different vibe for what we usually do as well, man. And then funnily enough, it was my first one-on-one interview with Dre Styles. What did you think of that one?
That? Yeah, well, of course, Dre's got a personality that kind of just jumps out. It's like almost larger than life. So, you know, that one was always going to be interesting. And, you know, he's just brought out this fire album. So, you know, it's a good moment to get him, really.
Yeah. And he actually asked me before we went live, he was like, so what's taking you so long to interview me? And I was like, look, man, it's all about timing, you know? And
what's taking you so long to get, why is it taking you so long to get an album up?
There you go. So, you know, but it was definitely worth the wait, man. It's an incredible body of work. You know, I'm very proud of him. You can tell that it's taken years to put together. You know, it's not rushed. He's like been seasoned correctly.
Well, he's found these like key 3 producers there, and he knows he works well with them, and you know, he's found his sort of sound for the moment. And anything he touches with those guys is going to be great.
Yeah, you know. So
I liked the people he brought in on it as well. I was really pleased to see Keisha on it as well, and doing great, because I thought, you know.
Well, I mean, those are older tracks. I think those are some of the first tracks that he's had some tracks that have been sitting around for a couple of years, you know. But again, you know, he's already like halfway through the next one, so he's definitely got the bug now, you know. So let's hope like in the new year we get a sequel to that album. I believe he's got an EP, so it's got some like grime stuff coming out. So he's such a versatile artist.
Yeah, that was, I mean, because he told us all about his sort of beginnings in grime, and it seemed to me that's kind of weird, because to have started in grime and then it's kind of like he's going backwards, or like count against the flow, you know.
Well, I call him like the perfect hybrid artist, because he just managed to like seamlessly go from hip hop to grime, you know, like seamlessly. You know, he can sit in both worlds.
From grime road rap to conscious underground hip hop. So like, he describes it as a kind of artistic maturity, I guess. You know, that's probably more what he can relate to now. How he didn't want to be just lopping heads off anymore. He was, you know, reaching for those Quelly albums and trying to get deeper.
Yeah. You know, so it's pretty dope, man. It's a dope project, man. I managed to catch up with Coops, you know, another it's interesting, man. I mean, a lot of, I guess, underground. He was on High Focus Records for a long time, you know. So he's got a lot of the High Focus crowd behind him as well, you know. But he's originally was from Tottenham, actually. So he's a North London MC. Getting into production now, but yeah. But did you manage to catch that one as well?
Yeah, a little bit, and you know, I'll be checking his stuff out, of course, and you know, what can I say? It's great. You know, he's a great artist.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really good to see him doing tours. And
yeah. That was his second UK tour. And I caught up with him at a Guildford show, which was literally like,
oh, it's check for you.
Yeah, so like some of my students were like, one of my students was opening for him on the night, actually, which was interesting. So I went to support my student and then, you know, see Coops and then interview Coops. So it was a good all-round evening in the end.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So then
he's really young as well, right? So he's gonna be doing a lot.
You'll be here for a while, man. After that we got Elder Sensei. Now hip hop legend Never the Sensei. What did you think of that interview?
Oh yeah, I mean, fantastic to just to sort of sit down with him and you and was it Kish Cash, you know, kind of put, you know, just hearing all about his origins in how he got started in it all and stuff, and I don't know, man. It's just his take.
I like his breakdown of the history of Jersey hip hop, which was really cool. You know,
yeah, there seem to be so many more artists involved in it. I mean, we all know about like Redman and that.
Yeah,
but he reeled off like bare names. I don't know if it's Lords of the Underground. Well,
yeah, like Naughty by Nature. You know, his connection to
Naughty by Nature.
Yeah, you know, Queen Latifah, Flavor Unit. You know, his association with all of these artists over the years, you know, and it gave me a lot to go and listen to and research as well. So, you know, yeah, it was a great time, man. And you know, obviously
Lauryn Hill was Jersey as well, wasn't she?
Yeah, that's right. Lauryn Hill, the Fugees, you know, and as a bonus to that interview, having him feature on 50 MCs as well, spit a verse on our track is definitely a great look for us as well, man.
Yeah.
So based off our relationship in that interview. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I was expecting there to be a bit more on Tame One, of course, who's, you know, he passed away, but it was, maybe that was a sensitive,
yeah, you know,
thing to bring up.
And that's usually the first question I guess people want to ask him. So, you know, that's probably something he kind of shied away from, you know. Yeah, man. We had Poetikah, you know. I realized I was getting to the end of the season and I had not interviewed any female artists. So I was a bit worried for a sec.
Definitely artist, definitely, man.
Yeah.
I mean, because she's spoken word, right? But then she's going over like like these amazing drill beats and things. Like she's really, you know, at the sort of cutting edge of the new music that's coming out.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of the stuff we might listen to might be like, you know, genres from like 30 years ago or whatever. But it's right there.
Yeah.
I guess that's the thing about spoken word, is you could put it over anything almost.
Well, yeah, I mean, in reason, you know, because I mean, a lot of poets over the years we've realized cannot necessarily ride a hip hop beat, but because they're used to being quite free. But she does.
You couldn't have put it over country western back.
Yeah, you know, and and for that interview, I switched up the formula a bit by having her do studio performances of their songs as well. So that might be something that I explore more in season 5. I might just not just have interviews. I might have live performances as well.
Yeah, man, it's a great idea, especially for her, because I didn't really know who she was, and you know, it really lets you see what a great artist she is. You know.
Yeah. You know. So yeah. So that was Poetikah. Yeah. So again, another like on a production note, you know, I because I started another podcast. I've got a wrestling podcast out with DJ Magic J, where we kind of look at more contemporary ways of editing interviews. So there were some developments, I guess, throughout the season in terms of how
I've seen you putting in like the images or even little bits of video and stuff. That's working, man.
So we're gonna see things, I guess, tighten up a bit more in season 5, but we'll look back at season 4 and be like, okay, that's where things started to change, you know. And then we closed out the season with the Blast Master himself, the icon KRS One. What did you think of that interview?
Yeah, I mean, it was brilliant. There was a little bit of him showing that he was a little bit annoyed, I guess, or frustrated with the authorities. I mean, very amazing, because he got only 45 minutes, and he was like, "Hey, I wanted to do an hour and a half.
Yeah.
They only let me have 45 minutes. That's not right."
Yeah. And it's interesting to get that perspective, because I'm sure at some point we've all been to shows and have noticed the artists end the show like abruptly and be like, they don't care. Why are they not giving us a full hour or something? When in that case, it wasn't even his fault. You know, they just didn't give him enough time, and he'd have happily done a 2-hour show.
Yeah, and I mean, but for him to be wanting to still do like kind of marathon type gigs at his age is just amazing. But you know, it's because he loves it and lives it, and he is hip hop. I mean, because he kept saying like, I love this magazine, that I Am Hip Hop magazine, because I reckon he can relate to that.
Yeah. You know,
if anyone is hip hop, I think it's him.
Yeah, he definitely showed a lot of love to I Am Hip Hop magazine, man, and the great work that they do over there as well, you know.
And just to have something tangible and physical in your hand, you know, I think he's had it with like everything being so virtual these days and digitized.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's go full circle again, man. You know, all of this virtual digital stuff, people are gonna want to have real things again. You know, I noticed one of my students in particular, he still has a cassette tape Walkman, you know, because it's like, you could have a CD player, you could have digital like MP3s and that, but he'd rather have a cassette tape, you know?
Yeah. I mean, they're becoming, you know, they've been trendy.
Yeah.
You know, like a collector's thing, aren't they?
Yeah, you see. So yeah, man. So that was season 4 of the head-to-head interview series. And this was our recap, our wrap up. You know, feel free to jump in the comment section and just hit us with your thoughts if you managed to catch any of these interviews. And if not, you know, definitely go on the Connoisseurs of Hip Hop YouTube channel, go back, visit some of these interviews and previous seasons. You know, this is season 4. So check out season 3, season 2. It's amazing that we managed to do 4 seasons in the space of a year and a half. You know, it's been quite rapid. Yeah.
Wow.
You know? Yeah.
And of course, some of these are gonna feature in volume 2 of the book.
Yes.
Which is very, very nearly done.
So yeah, so look out for that in 2024 alongside season 5 of the head-to-head series, as well as our continued podcasts that we drop as well, the mixes. DJ Nikki Stylus is about to give us a guest mix. So again, you know, you're going to see the Connoisseurs of Hip Hop still growing, still expanding, still trying new things. You know, so expect a very exciting 2024 from us as well. And yeah, I'm sure we have lots of like surprises and tricks up our sleeves. I've recently been doing some Instagram live interviews. So you've just recently seen one that I've done with SR and Pitch 92, talking about their new album that's going to be coming out in the new year on First Word Records. So yeah, I don't know how I feel right now, man. I might try and drop one of those every week, so just keep things moving, man, and just and jump on different formats and just
No,
yeah.
it sounds great. I can't wait to see that, man. Pitch
Yeah,
92 is the producer at the moment, man.
yeah,
All dope, so
yeah, man. A lot of love for Pitch 92, So I mean, for those who might be watching this on our YouTube channel, we are Connoisseurs of Hip Hop on all platforms. That's Instagram. Seriously considering starting a TikTok channel, Tom. So maybe that might be something 2024. Put some clips.
I'm not involved, man. I've been sort of steering myself away from it.
Yeah, but we still have interviews on the Spotify channel as well. So you may get audio versions of some of these interviews on our Spotify, right? As well as our Mixcloud and maybe some new formats in the new year. You see how it goes. Again, we've got the volume 1 of the book out right now. We've got some Connoisseurs of Hip Hop merchandise out now on Amazon. And yeah, bunch of other stuff, I guess.
All heap of pods to listen to as well. So
yeah. So if you love our interviews, you'll find loads. We've done hundreds. So yeah. But yeah, that's it from me. SKANDOUZ, the hip hop original, alongside DJ
on Foolery Beats.
And we will join you for season 5 of the Head2Head series. So keep it locked, and we'll see you in 2024. Peace.